stand by for action.
Thanks for joining me. My name is Dave Milner. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy, and I want to welcome you to part 2 of this episode of the Unpleasant Blind Guy on EDL Radio. Now remember, if you want to contact me with comments, questions, show suggestions, Awesome American suggestions, I'm available at UBG Contact on Twitter, or I can also be found as Dave Milner or Agador, that's Aggedor, on Mumblet, the Tea Party Community, Spreely, Minds, MeWe, or Gab. Now let's begin. I just want people to know that if we have time, we're also going to play Mr. Robinson's response to all this. But just wanted to let people know that there is that. But we want to dissect this and let you guys know, because so much propaganda has been put out about Mr. Robinson and his supporters, and we want to clarify things and bring you the truth. All right, now Jeff, if you're prepared, we're going to go ahead and run the second half of this. All right, and this one is going to be a little bit longer.
I'm getting interested in that, the first half, Dave. Well done, mate. Yes, please, buddy. Thank you.
All right, this will be just over 8 minutes long. All right, and you guys are listening to the English Defense League radio show. Here we go with the second and final part of this.
You put out a call on social media for people to demonstrate today outside the prison. Why did you call it?
Essentially, I wanted to make sure that I have my rights. I know what 10 weeks of solitary confinement does. It's not good for you.
It's not solitary confinement as in terms of the cooler. It's not a box with nothing in it. You've got a TV, you've got a kettle. But also, do you not think, by calling a demonstration that could possibly end in violence, that that's helping your cause?
It sends a message to the establishment that this doesn't work.
What do you think the other inmates are going to feel about you if they can hear people screaming for you to be either let out or freed? Do you not think that's going to provoke some of the inmates? I mean, that's the concern the prison has. You know, staff that would have been off on the weekend are now working. What do you think it's going to do?
What they usually hear is Muslims shouting about Islam. So.
Hear the dogs. The dogs are getting excited. You know, you said there was a price on your head. Do you not think that price will go up as a result of this demonstration?
No. Unless I tell them to play a cartoon of Muhammad outside, which I may do, if things get worse.
Comments like this don't just cause offence, they can stir up trouble too. Last year, Robinson supporters injured over 20 police officers in a demo. The prison fears that protesters could not only turn violent, but even storm the gates. The prison has now gone into command mode, which effectively means that the prison freezes itself. As an officer, if you're with inmates or not with inmates, you basically stand in that position. The front door's locked. All decisions inside the prison all go through the command suite.
Good evening. What's the situation, gentlemen? Large group of protesters there. They've been letting off pyrotechnics and smoke bombs, and they have threatened 2 members of staff coming in on duty, swearing at them using them.
That guy in the white t-shirt.
At the moment, there is actually a scuffle between the protesters,
which potentially could be that some people want to escalate it.
I've come to the department closest to the demo, the healthcare unit, home to Belmarsh's most vulnerable inmates.
They're going to start now.
Well, it's winding people up, isn't it?
EDL motherfuckers, I've seen this on camera, them, man. You know what I mean? This world should be peaceful, no racist pricks.
But can you see what it says there? Can you see what it says?
English Defence League. Nah, I didn't write that.
I guess not. Why are you angered by the...
Why? I'm angry. I don't like racism. This is the 21st century. This is going to be on lockdown. Everybody's going to be on lockdown.
Is that going to make you more popular or less popular?
Yeah, less popular.
The demo is now in danger of inciting violence inside and setting prisoner against prisoner. Despite their best efforts to cause disruption, Tommy Robinson's supporters were eventually cleared by police, and a moment of relative calm descends on Belmarsh. For now, all inmates' posts must be checked for material that's inappropriate or a security risk, and that includes fan mail.
That's Mr. Assange's mail there.
For how long?
That's just this last week.
That's a week's mail.
I have taken £2 up to him already.
Getting a lot of mail. And whose is this over here?
That's Mr. Robinson.
That's Mr. Robinson's.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Compare that to what our guys in other parts of the prison receive.
For like 2 days. This is house spot 1?
Yeah.
So this is all the mail for 200 prisoners, and that's the mail for Tommy Robinson.
Tommy Robinson.
But all of it has to be vetted.
Everything's read. So this will be what our staff need to be aware of.
They're all right-wing organisations or militias.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what in terms of logos, but we have a team who do.
How much resource is this taking away?
They take down bags a day down to him. So they're putting a lot of pressure on the staff to satisfy ourselves that there's nothing within that mail of concern and we can get it to him as soon as possible. But you can see the volume is huge. So far, Belmarsh has kept Tommy Robinson safe, sound and deprived of publicity. But that's just changed.
Tommy Robinson was punched in prison shower by a man aged 70.
I know what he means. I was only hearing him a couple of days ago. I said he's not going to last long.
One of the prison officers asked what's going on, but he said he had slipped and no official report was made.
Seeing all that, I imagine we would have heard about it. I'm surprised we never heard about it.
That's because the story's not true.
I'm going to have to talk to you about papers over the weekend. Being beaten up by a 70-year-old.
Hi.
I thought better of you.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so it frustrates me.
Is it?
On that. No.
He beats up Tommy. Oh, mate, look at that line. If you act like you're the boss in here, they will take you down.
No, it's a 70-year-old that took me
I know.
down.
I haven't seen another inmate. I haven't visually looked at anyone.
Right, well, it's put my staff at risk, and there could be retribution in the wings where people are thinking if that's happening, we're going to get a bit back tit for tat, which is not good for me. Just as much as you can when you speak to people.
I've told everyone. I'm sure I've got my first visit tomorrow from a friend who will tell people.
So, thank you very much.
Keeping Tommy Robinson alone means Belmarsh can control what happens to him inside. Belmarsh inevitably leaves its mark on all prisoners. For the last 9 weeks, Tommy Robinson has been held in isolation, separated from the rest of the prison population, and today he's being released.
Is this all stuff you got in through the mail?
Yep.
Not appropriate. But the next person that comes in here, they probably won't want that. We'll be walking out,
cool.
Take your property in a trolley. Don't come back.
So it happens.
It seems right to the last, Robinson is still affecting the prison's regime.
He's not going to go by reception. Every prisoner who's discharged at the end of the sentence goes through reception.
Reason being?
The reason being is I've got other courts, I've got courts going out, I've got transfers going out. I don't want to disrupt that. So we're going to discharge him directly from here.
Tommy leaving today, is that a weight off your shoulders?
There'll be someone coming in this afternoon that will put the weight back on it.
Yeah. So how have you enjoyed Belmarsh?
This has been as best as could possibly be, being locked on my own for months. So I haven't been in Belmarsh, I haven't looked around, I haven't seen another prisoner. I see Julian Assange through the window.
Did you?
Yeah, I just walk around there and hit Julian Assange's windows at the top. Jesus, man, I try and get my head around what he's going through. You can't, can you?
How are you feeling right now? You seem very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that 9 weeks locked up on your own can have an effect on anyone. For over 2 months, Tommy Robinson's presence here has caused disruption on both sides of the wall.
And welcome back, everyone, to the English Sensei Radio Show with the host, Jeff Spider Mitchell. Jeff, your views, that's the second bit of it.
I mean, what was said there, I mean, about it could cause trouble inside with the prisoners and that. There's a clip that I did see going back a while ago, which I think was out there. It showed this prisoner, and he's having a go about Tommy and this, that, and he's having a go about braces, and on his door was EDL. You can't make it up, Dave. It was there. You know what I mean? He's giving it big loads, and it was EDL all over the door. That's what that's something that really I caught out on that. But it's just the way that Kemp tried to dramatise the EDL. There's a scuffle going on. The scuffle was because people are sussed out that this was a plant, this was someone trying to stir up shit. That's what it was, David. We talked about this, didn't we? After we said what was going on, we knew what they do. Trying to stir up trouble, and then it's all over the papers, this is blah, 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 like it always is, Dave. But, yeah, it was interesting, and, yeah, it was just, it was what it was. Tommy done his time. He was basically, what he's saying, he could stir up, prisoners could do, prisoners are going to do to think other prisoners like they always had done, mate. They want some justice on another prisoner, one way or the other, they're going to get justice. Prison justice. But it was good to see that Tommy was looked after by the staff, and they're good on them. They did a good job. It's good to see that the governor come down every day to check on Tommy, and that he was a nurse would see him every day as well. So that whatever comes out of it, it's come out that at least he was looked after well there, in that prison, which, it seemed to be done, and that was it. Except we knew that the left would try to blow things left, right and centre, all these little snidey things that Kemp was saying. He's a lefty, for goodness sake, guys. That's what lefties do. Propaganda, try to stir and try to be subtle at the same time. I'm sorry, Kemp, it don't come over like that. You're a lefty, a raging lefty, and I've seen through you, mate. So jog on, do one. Don't like you. Back to you, Dave.
Well, I have to say, Jeff, that there was an awful lot in this last bit here that I don't know. The first thing I noticed was he's sitting there in the cell with Tommy Robinson, and Kemp basically belittled his confinement. Oh, you've got a TV and a kettle. Well, now I have to say, Jeff, that if it had been Ross Kemp being held in that same facility for that same amount of time, I can guarantee that there would have been a lot more drama from him if someone else had interviewed him. He would have acted as if he was in the hole. I mean, he would have acted as if it was the complete end of the world for him, and all of that stuff. Okay, this individual cannot understand. I can't even comprehend the things that Tommy Robinson has gone through in not just at HMP only, but before. Okay, he can't even comprehend having to fight a room full of...
Sorry, Dave, he don't really care. He don't care. You see the way it came out. It was nothing to do that he was concerned about Tommy Robinson. No, he was being a propagandist, like he is. Okay, Dave, sorry, mate, I know this thing, but I just wanted... That's what shone through to me. That's why I've never liked Kemp. He's one of those, trust him as far as you could throw him. Have him side by side with you when something's going on, trust him as far as you can throw him. He's the one who'd do a run and leave you standing there, mate. That's the type of person he is, a total lefty. A numpty. Yes, Kemp, Ross Kemp, you are a numpty. We all know it. Good, Dave.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to illustrate, though, is that Kemp cannot understand the fact he can't comprehend being in a room and having to fight off a bunch of Muslims that want to kill him, all right, with their bare hands. He can't comprehend being in a cell with nothing more than a mat on the floor and having the Muslim prisoners shoving feces through his cell door. He can't comprehend not being able to eat the prison food because he knows that it would have been poisoned. These are things that a pampered leftist who doesn't live in the real world really cannot comprehend. So for him to belittle Mr. Robinson's confinement in that way just, I think, says a lot more about Kemp than it does about Tommy Robinson. And
well said,
and the lie that he told about saying that last year Tommy Robinson supporters injured over 20 law enforcement officers. I couldn't
rubbish,
let that one go.
Rubbish.
Yeah. Absolute rubbish. I couldn't let that one go. All right. Some of those law enforcement officers were injured by lefty counter protesters. Okay. In fact, all of them were. The EDL did not do that. And let's just go to this next one.
Would say that. That's what lefties do, isn't it, Dave? They say that because he's a lefty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, this next bit, this had to do with the demonstration. And we covered this fairly extensively here, Jeff, on the show. We covered this fairly extensively. And the prison staff, they said, oh, well, they're setting off pyrotechnics. They're lighting off pyrotechnics. That made it sound like they were throwing Molotov cocktails and lighting off bombs and things. No, people, what they were doing were setting off firecrackers. Okay, there was nothing more dangerous in that demonstration than there was in any Chinese New Year celebration. Okay, that's all they were doing. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. They weren't even setting off what Americans would call M80s, which are really big firecrackers. All right. The next bit, the prison staff was saying that the demonstrators were threatening them and things of that nature. Honestly, Jeff, I can't believe that. And again, I defer to you here because people in the EDL know how to behave in a demonstration. You know from having been on demos yourself, EDL and demonstrators and people who are supporting Tommy Robinson do not just accost other people and threaten them and things of that nature. They let them just go on their way and do their thing as long as they're not trying to threaten them or something of that type. Am I not correct?
Yeah, 100%, Dave. That's not the way we ever conducted ourselves. You know, I mean, I'm talking about EDL. And this wasn't just an EDL. This was Tommy Robinson's supporters, okay? So this
Correct.
wasn't just a big bar. They always, whether it's his supporters, whether it's EDL, have always conducted themselves because they know the spotlight is on them. So, of course, they're not going to do things like that because it puts us in a bad light. And yes, we are noisy, and we've always been noisy. It's the way that you get people to listen. You know, we're there, it's doing a demonstration for Tommy. That's what we was there for. And it was just like any other, demonstration, except, as I say, there was one who tried to cause a few issues, and he was being dealt with, and that's what he said. There was a scuffle. Of course there's going to be a scuffle. No one wants that crap, because it shows a bad light on what we're trying to do. That's correct, isn't it, Dave? So that's what I look at it.
Well, yeah, Jeff, you're right. And as I pointed out before earlier in the show, this kind of thing would happen at Tea Party demonstrations here in the United States. Some idiot would come in who was basically a lefty plant. They would come in and do something like hold up a picture of Obama as a monkey or something like that. And the stewards, so to speak, at the demonstration would show them the door. They'd take away their sign and they'd show them off the premises, give them to the police and say, please escort this individual away from here. He's not part of us. And that would be it. And that's what happened this time. But, of course, you didn't hear that in this crockumentary. What you heard was, there was a scuffle with these violent violent people were scuffling with each other. That's what happened, people. Okay, so that's the truth, not what you saw on ITV. And now this other thing here, Jeff, and I made this note. Kemp lied again, saying the demo was broken up by the police, and we know this. We covered this when the demo happened. No, it was not. It was over. The police escorted them out out of the area once the demonstration was over because there were counter-protesters, but the demonstration was finished.
We give them a time. We give them a time when we'll be doing the demonstration. Everybody, Tommy knew what time we'll be finished. Everybody knew that the police broke up the demonstration. The demonstrators themselves, okay, guys, we've done our bit. And everybody started waving to Tommy, good on you, son, and they went on their way. No police come there and rush them and wave them the scene. No way, it didn't happen, and we got video evidence to prove it. So, jog on, you lying leftist turds. Carry on with your lies, like you always do. But we got evidence to prove on the contrary to what you're talking about. Go on, Dave.
Yeah, beautiful, man. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it is kind of good that we have that body of work that we can fall back on. It's just a shame that Ross Kemp can't. Now, it is just about 20 after, or it will be in just a moment. Do you want to call back in so that we can go through the last few of these notes and do some other stories?
I've been engaged tonight. I realise the time is going quite as quick. No. Yeah, okay then, mate. Let me pass it back to you and I'll call back in, yeah? Thank you, Dave. I think it's been great, the first and second part. It's nice to discuss different issues about things that we found. That got me, I mean, you picked that one there straight away about the police broke there. What a lie. Kemp, get your facts right. If you're going to lie, do it right. You're hopeless at it, mate. Totally hopeless. And I thought he was a journo. Dave, back to you, mate.
Yeah, it really does help if you're going to lie to at least make it partly believable. But thank you, Jeff. And Jeff is going to call back in to the show. While he's calling back in, I just want to say that you guys can hear repeats of this program on the Unpleasant Blind Guy page at Spreaker.com. That is my own personal show, The Unpleasant Blind Guy, and that can be heard broadcast over SHR Media, and I'm also available on the Western Free Radio Network. Now, my show times on SHR Media are 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday in the United States, and that's 6 p.m. in the UK, Monday through Friday, and at midnight on Saturday in the United States Eastern, and that is 5 a.m. in the UK. All right, and right now, currently, I'm not doing a repeat of this show because I also do other little Unpleasant Blind Guy programs and things of that nature right now. I'm doing a program on there that I recorded last year with Kaiser Schuff of Kaiser's Castle, where we discussed quite a few things, and it's a fairly good program. And a little bit of a note, guys, you are going to, on that show here, just a little bit more cursing than you would normally hear on one of my shows. But for all of that, Kaiser Schuff is a good host, and the show really is well worth giving a listen to. Now, that Jeff is back, and welcome back, Jeff. We will continue to, we will continue to look at the notes for this. We only have a few left, man, and then we'll hear Tommy Robinson's response to it. Okay.
Yeah,
now,
I look forward to that.
Now, this is one thing that just annoyed me no end. And, of course, this is an audio, so you guys obviously couldn't see the video. You can, again, by going to tr.news, and you can see the whole crockumentary. All right? The crockumentary showed the piles of mail for the other prisoners and the massive amount of mail that Tommy Robinson received. Okay, and when that happened, Kemp implied that Tommy Robinson getting lots of mail was an unfair strain on the prison staff. Jeff, how annoying was that to you? How annoying was that to you, brother?
Oh, it was just, as I say, it's Kemp. It's Kemp saying it. As I say, everything he says, I'll just take it as a leftist propagandist. You know what I mean? It's total rubbish. Tommy, wherever he is, he'll get that mail. Mate, any excuse. Tommy should have been banged up in the first place. If he was going to be in a prison, it should be in a blue-collar prison, not high-security Belmarsh prison. So there you go. It's too bad. They want to put him in a high-security prison. Then they can have to deal with the circumstances of Tommy and his mail. He's a very, very popular man, and he will get the mail. Don't like it too. And it's quite obvious he didn't like that. He didn't like that. That Tommy gets all this mail. What? Is this a problem, Kemp, because you don't get that type of mail, you wanker? Oh, sorry, I always have said that.
No, very nice, Jeff. Yeah, very nice. Well, he probably, let's face it again. Actor though he is, he may have his little fans and whatnots and things of that nature, but he doesn't have the kind of people who admire him in the way that people admire a true civil rights leader like Tommy Robinson. And he'll never have that. He'll never ever have that. And you nailed the point. Okay, if the people of Belmarsh Prison did not like the fact that they had to deal with the extra mail and things of that nature, then Mr. Robinson should not have been sentenced to go there. We discussed this, as you said. They should have sent him to a blue-collar, minimum security prison, or better yet, just had him pay a fine and maybe made him wear an ankle bracelet and put him under house arrest or something of that nature. There was, again, no reason to sentence this man to a supermax prison designed to hold terrorists and the worst of the worst criminals that there are. It was just the UK government trying to make a point. And yes, Mr. Robinson was well taken care of because, as you said earlier in the show, Jeff, they had, an even dozen of eggs on their faces. The entire UK government did, because of the treatment that Mr. Robinson got at HMP Onley. All right, and they really felt that there was too much attention that Mr. Robinson was getting, and they couldn't get away with doing what they wanted to do in the first place, which was put him in a place where he would never leave. All right, and I think we all know that. And that didn't happen this time, and it was because Mr. Robinson called for the demonstration. It was because there was all the attention on Mr. Robinson that there was.
And that is it for this time. Next time, Part 3. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and may your God go with you. Goodbye.
The Unpleasant Blind Guy is copyright 2020. Anno Domini. Now for Dave's Canes. Extras that help you navigate the new media world.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian Sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty void in Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.